So I want to welcome everyone to Kiwanis Let's Talk on New Year's Kiwanis Eve. For some of us, we got a few hours left. Some got a few more. But before we know it, it'll be the 21-22 administrative year. And I think we start out by thanking all of our leaders from 20 to 21 who have been through the second, or I guess an additional or continuation of a pandemic that's going on that we're still all dealing with, but everybody that's still out there trying to do their best for our clubs and our communities. And thank you for all the work that you have done along the way. And we know that some presidents finished up 2 years. I know some clubs, this is going to be their second year for the president, so they can keep things going. And it's great to see that we still have a lot of interest and a lot of excitement in our organization. So with that, tonight we are excited to have with us someone near and dear to many of us. And I know he's got his cheering team is with him tonight. He's got lots of friends on the call tonight. So for those of you that have not been with us before, my name is Sue Peterson, and I'm with the Michigan District. I'm responsible for membership, for education and leadership development. And we have been doing this program over a year on Thursday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern time, and have had a number of speakers, from authors to sports to Kiwanis. We kind of do a mixture of sessions so that it's not all Kiwanis and it's not all outside, but things that people are interested in. So when people have speaker suggestions, I go after them. And as I always tell them, I'm like, I don't have any money to pay you, but I can give you an audience with a number of people. We've talked to we've had a number of clubs that have come on and talked about their projects, which has been great. We had the Zozoba project was on. And if you want to take a look at any of our past programs, if you go to the Michigan District of Kiwanis YouTube page, we actually record all these programs, and all these sessions are up on the YouTube page, so you can take a look at them. I will warn you in advance that they're very, as I call, raw. I don't do anything to them to make them fancy. I'm not this is my extent right now of figuring out how to make these things record and get them up on YouTube, but I don't know the front end and the back end of how to make all that other stuff work. And then we do use this as since it is a Zoom meeting, we will take questions near the end. Larry and whoever else he wants to have questions or whatever, we will do that at the end. So in the meantime, keep yourself muted. If you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat room. But I'm happy to have with us tonight Larry Member, who actually I installed on Monday as the president of the Chelsea Kiwanis Club. Larry's a past governor here in the Michigan District and has spent many, many years working on membership recruitment, and was appointed by incoming President Peter Mancuso, who will be president tomorrow, to serve as the chair of the membership recruitment team, membership growth team for Kiwanis International. So I'm going to turn it over to Larry and let him do his thing. So Larry, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Sue. Also like to welcome Dennis Braun, who is also in the recruitment. He is the excellence part of membership. He's the committee on club excellence, and him and I have been tag teaming around, doing lots of presentations to different groups over the last few months. So he has the coaching side of it, and I have the membership side. So we're going to talk tonight about club openings, and some of the things that are going to be a little bit different, and what we can do next year, not only with club openings, but also with a recruitment of expanding our clubs. So we're going to talk about all those types of things of what we can do. So first of all, before we do that, I got an exercise for you. If this is going to work, how come it doesn't want to go forward? Okay. So if you're in the chat, if you can put, what are some characteristics of a strong club? When we're talking about strengthening a club, what are characteristics of a strong club? Has anybody got any? Unmute yourself and give it to us. Or put it in chat, and we'll try to catch up with you. Strong leadership, good succession planning, engaged members, Those are all good things that we have to look at when we look at a club to see whether it's strong or whether it can continue to be strong. It doesn't mean that a club is in trouble. I've looked at clubs that are large clubs that were once maybe 150 or 200 members, and now they're losing members. So it doesn't always mean that the big clubs and the strong clubs, by their characteristics, are the one they don't need help and don't need coaching, as we'll talk about as we get into. These are some of the things that I've come up with: consistent high attendance at meetings, consistent high participation in club activities and events, maintaining or increasing your membership, and recognized in the community as a club that makes a difference. And you have strong projects and community involvement. So one of our goals today and this evening is to talk about how to build and retain support to growing Kiwanis members in our network. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we increase membership. We open clubs. We develop leaders, which is very important because hopefully that through these processes of membership, we will develop leaders that can be lieutenant governors and take other positions within their local clubs or local district, and also in international. We're always looking for leaders. And so hopefully process of membership and being involved with membership will build those leaders and help us to grow. Focus on service to invite new members and strengthen clubs and open clubs, and build a strong network of local and global partners. So those are all things that we need to do, and we're going to talk about ways to do that with opening clubs and strengthening our existing clubs.
Calling Cooper's Hawk Winery and Restaurant. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. As a reminder, reservations and carry-out orders may be placed online at
Somebody, Scott. So one of the things is more service. As we emerge from a pandemic, we need our members to commit to inviting members, friends, colleagues, family members, and others to join our efforts to help children. Every member means more hands for service. Greater impact. More Kiwanis members means a greater impact for children in our communities who will need us more than we did before to service that will cut or reduce because of the pandemic. Strengthen clubs. Club strengthening is crucial to prevent the closure of clubs and those that are struggling either because of the dwindling membership or lack of focus. Club coaches can provide support and nurturing. And Dennis is going to talk about that a little bit later when he talks about the coaching aspect. Opening new clubs. Kiwanis must continue to open new clubs in communities around the world to help children who are undeserved or marginalized. So, saying that, we have some help for you. We have club opening specialists who that's their job, is to go out and help open clubs or strengthen clubs. There's 3 of them that are on staff at Kiwanis International: Jay Hubbard, Alan Guire, and Rogina Mitchell Rowe. And those are all available to help, and their focus is just to open clubs or to help strengthen clubs. We're going to talk about that these efforts can be both opening a club and it can be strengthening a club. And we're going to talk about the ways that can be done. And we're also going to talk about the fact that you can do one or the other or both when you're talking about a specialist. Volunteer opening team. And, Peter has put together a team of qualified volunteers who are ready and willing to travel to assist club openings. Each of these volunteers bring a wealth of experience to it. You may find these volunteers are both additional boots on the ground and a support system, knowledge base, and problem solvers. So this is a group of about 25 throughout the country, throughout North America primarily, though there is a few from Europe and from Asia, but primarily this is North America, and these are all people who are willing to travel to help open a club or strengthen a club. So they're available, and we're going to talk about how you go about getting that done. If you're going to have a site requirements if you're going to want to open a club. Let me say two things with this. One is that you can open a club, a new club, and strengthen a club. And we're going to talk about the fact that you can get a grant to do these in a little bit, but there is now that we can go out into the field and we can go out and help districts open clubs. You can also just open a club, or you can open and strengthen a club. So in other words, if you want to have help from the volunteers or from the club opening specialist, you can actually do two things. One is just open the club. And the second thing is to have it open a club and then have a strengthening club in a specific area that's relatively close within reason of the club that you're going to open. So we're not just focusing strictly on opening that club. We're also focusing on how can we strengthen a club that needs help in a particular area. And that's where the coaching comes in. And there's some steps that we have to go through to be able to get the help that you need to do one of these events, either from being a club coach or club opener. So again, it's appointments need to be made to be effective. Need to have at least 8 to 10 pre-assigned appointments, which is the key. And the site can include a new site and a boost site, as I've been talking about. But all grant requirements should be used for this from a budgeting standpoint. This means the venues will need to be booked, local volunteers identified, and the coaches trained. And we're going to talk about coaches in a minute of what the requirements are to be a coach in a new club opening event. And as we've done, and Dennis is going to talk about this, the fact that we have a certified coaches program now. So any coach that is used for opening a new club must be a certified coach. It can't be just somebody that you think is good at mentoring a club. It has to be certified through Dennis's program. Opening a club site will have to be included in the club opening tool. There's club openings tools and club kits. You have to be ordered. A club opening tool should be used to complete the club after the organizational meeting. These are things that need to be done for opening a new club. Site survey is required. For boost sites, the club must complete appropriate ACE tools to prepare the club and its members for the boost. And we're going to talk about a little bit about ACE tools here in just a little bit. If your district wants volunteers to help, request them through your area membership coordinator. We have area membership coordinators for North America 1, 2, 3, 4, and Dennis has the same thing, different ones, but for areas 1, 2, 3, 4 from the strengthening and coaching side. ACE tools, I guess they speak for themselves. We need to learn how to use the ACE tools. There's a big push to use ACE tools in our districts. And so I'm hoping that you will dig, and I'm going to give you a resource for a great ACE tool PowerPoint that is kind of fun to see and fun to use. And it is actually Rhonda Burrell really is the one who developed this, and I think it's just wonderful. I've shown it at our club, my club, as a tool to do things that the ACE tools tells us and shows us. One of the things that was developed over the last 2 years, and as I said, I've sat on this committee with Kathleen Moylan was the leader of that committee, and we've been working on this club opening guide, if you will, which is the resources for the last 2 years. And it finally was developed and has been accepted and is now being used for all sorts of information about how to open a club. The first part of it is the first step is to prepare and plan. It talks about the things that you need to prepare for, exploring the community, laying the groundwork, all those things that you need to do to get ready. Preparation is the most important thing you do, whether it's for opening a new club or whether it's looking at strengthening an existing club. The planning is the most important thing you do. Everywhere from finding a sponsoring club to the coaches to finding the prospective members, all those things are part of the pre-planning and need to be done correctly. The second part is to meet with prospective members. You need to develop the rapport, overcome objections, follow up on the referrals, and explain what's going to happen when you're out in the field. I know a lot of people on this call have been out in the field and they think they know all the things there is to do from a aspect of finding prospective members, but it's a job that requires everybody to be focused on what those members are and how they might be approached, because everything is different when you're meeting prospective members, whether that's a city official or whether that's the superintendent. All those things need to be worked out ahead of time, and this section of this guide will tell us, give us some ideas of how to do that. Third section is to organize the club, introducing the club with coach. And as I said, that coach needs to be certified through the certification program that Dennis has put together. And I'm sure he's going to talk about that a little bit as we go along here. Pre-organizational meeting, you're getting to determine whether the club's going to be a regular club or it's going to be a 3-2-1 club, or it's going to be a how many times a week or a month it's going to meet. All those types of things you need to determine what the type of the club is going to be. And the last step is to formalize and establish the club. To formalize, establish the club, Kiwanis requirements, permanent organization roster, get your charters done, and all the legal and financial things that need to be done to open a club. So that's the guide. Now, the one thing that's really good about this guide is there a library that goes with it and the resources. And if you download that guide and then you click on any one item in there, and they'll be highlighted in blue, it will take you to the document, the backup document that you need to use for that particular with additional information. So it's very interactive, it's very easy to use, and it has all the information that anybody would need to start from scratch to open a new club in a community. Memberships, some types of membership that you should be considering when you're talking about clubs is corporate membership. We've opened a lot of clubs over the last however many years it's been, and corporate memberships are a big thing where you don't have to have a specific, it can be in the corporate's name so that you can have a specific person who is the voting person, but anybody from that company or corporation can be part of your club and help with projects and fundraisers and all those things that are happening. But the important part of that is that if that particular person leaves or moves on, like a sheriff or a policeman or those types of people, then you don't have to re-recruit it. That can be just changed to that new person who's come in to take that position. Satellite members, satellite clubs are becoming more popular too. So those are clubs that would be a group that might meet at a different time than your club would meet, but they are all the administrative information is done by the parent club. And then the satellite club members meet for maybe at a particular time, or maybe have a particular interest in doing something else, and meeting it and having a site that is different from the parent club. So, we have a few in Michigan, which are young professionals that are part of the main club. We also have one at one of our CRC, which is one of our retirement homes in town. They have their own club that is part of our main club. So those are all opportunities. Certainly service leadership programs, alumni, whether that's Circle K, whether that's Key Club, you need to look at those and try to make sure if you have a Circle K or a Key Club in your community, that you're reaching out to and keeping track of those that will be graduating, and then seeing if you can't make sure that they just don't drop through the cracks, and you're able to entice them to look at and join an existing Kiwanis club. And they get 2 years of free membership if they have been a key Circle K or Key Club member in the past. Membership boost. Membership boost was started, I think it was started in Michigan a number of years ago, where we go into use our same principles that we use for we're opening a new club, to go in and say and look at an existing club that needs to have their membership increase, or there's some other issues that might go on that they need to just have more members, whatever that might be. You need to gather the data, same as we've talked about before, work on mapping the city, find out what's going on in the city and what we need to do. That I always feel that when you go in, even with an existing club, you need to join the chamber. You need to see if they don't belong to the chamber, join the chamber and see what they can be a great help to you as you try to recruit new members. Invitations, what would you like to have change in your club? Do a club survey. Part of the ACE tools is to do a club survey and do a community survey. Those two things will tell you a lot about the club and a lot about what the community is and where you might do your focus to add new members to that club. The planning and what you do is the most important part, whether it's a new club or whether it's a boosting an existing club. You need to invite guests to your virtual meetings, those who might not be able to attend in person. I think Zoom or virtual are going to be with us for a while. I think some clubs are going to meet that way for a while until we get to all this pandemic gets settled out. But certainly a lot of clubs are doing the hybrid meeting in person and online. It also allows clubs who have a lot of people in Michigan, we call them snowbirds, to go to either Arizona or Florida or someplace for the winter. It allows them to continue to be part of your club. And so by using Zoom and having that a hybrid, they're able to join in and be part of your meetings. And they will feel more a part of the club as they travel during the winter months. This is just kind of a spreadsheet flow chart of the things you need to do for a boost. The community analysis, things we've talked about. It's just kind of a flow chart that shows the things that need to be done when you do them, and to do a club opening event and a strengthening event. The sponsoring club, it's important that you must have a sponsoring club to open a club. And it would be great if you had a sponsoring club if you're that was gonna help you with a boost and a strengthening effort too. But with a club opening, you must have a sponsoring club. And volunteers for each site required to assist in process, including but not limited to membership. Club must be trained on the process of a sponsoring club. And there's a form that we're going to use that the sponsoring club is going to have to, at least the president's going to have to agree so that they know that their club has agreed to be a sponsoring club to a particular new club. So there's a form that's developed that we're going to use to have that sponsoring club, at least the president sign it, and so that he knows who it is. Coaches must be willing to commit for 2 years. The process has to be that if for a new club, you must have a coach, a certified coach, and it should be it's required to be from the sponsoring club. We like to have 2 coaches, but the second coach doesn't necessarily have to be from the sponsoring club. It could be from another club in the area, or somebody. You could even use Zoom for some of these events as far as coaches are concerned when you're talking about a new club. But for the first 2 years, it's so important that the sponsoring club's involved and the coaches from that sponsoring club, so that you can continue to get them started. Because as we looked at, and I think it's between the fourth and fifth year is a critical year for a new club, that if they're going to fail, it's probably going to be between 4 and 5 years. And so that's why we need to make sure that the coaches are staying with them and that they're committed to helping that club so it doesn't fail. It must be certified, and they must, when there's a sponsoring club agreement, as we've talked about. These are some things, again, these were developed out of the subcommittee that Art put together, and that I've been on, and Kathleen, and there's probably quite a few on here that were on that committee over the last 2 years. And these were single purpose clubs. These are meant to be clubs that you don't necessarily have to have in a specific area or a specific location, but they could be in an area club. LGBTQ clubs. I know there's one out in California, and I think there's one in Toronto. So those are becoming clubs that don't necessarily have to be from a specific area, but could be an internet club or a Zoom club. They could be for a number of areas. Literacy is another example of one. Food insecurity is a big one, and we have set up food insecurity. There's some write-up about it, but there's also a resource that goes along with that. Gives you ideas of resources that you can use to help develop a club that would deal primarily with food and insecurity. And that's such an important part of our world today, the food and insecurity, and it's one that we can certainly get our arms around and help in almost all our communities. And then the last one that we did, which is the last one that just got developed very recently, was retired educators. First, it started out to be retired teachers, but we decided that it includes more than just teachers. So we've called it the retired educators. If you go to the Kiwanis webpage, I'm going to show you how to do that and where to find the information. There is write-ups on every one of these. And so it gives you a starting point and with some suggestions and some resources to be able to get started with opening a club with one of these single purposes in mind. The other part of this is the district matching grant, which has been for the last, at least the last 3 years that I'm aware of. And it's available. It's not being used like it should be. The money is there to match grants up to $4,000 per event. But you only can do that once a year. But if you don't use all of the 4,000, you can come back. As long as you completed the first one, you can get a matching grant for the second, but the total amount has to be no more than $4,000. There is a new form for that. The 21-22 form has just been released, and you can get that information and how you fill it out. And it's an online report that you fill out and gets submitted to Gloria, and from that, then the committee on matching grant and the grant committee meets once a month. Anything that's received by the first of the month is then discussed and approved later, I think about the second week of the month. And so you need to have them in by the first of the month. If you want to know, this matching grant form is not on the websites, but it is available through through your area directors, or and if you need that, you can either contact them or myself or Kiwanis International, and we can get the form to you. Some of the things that are out there, we are going to, many of you, if you were part of the formula back starting in 2014, I believe, we used the volunteer tracker system, which kept track of what was all the club opening people and coaches, and I guess it's not going to come up for me. This is the tracker, And as you can see, it had all the statistics, the club coaches, the club openers, membership chairs, all these. This happens to be the one for Michigan. But we kept track of this, and so we know with the coaches, and I know that Dennis is working on getting this cleaned up in the districts with the coaches and getting the current information in the web in the tracker. And I'm trying to do the same thing with club openers, because if you look at it, it probably hasn't been updated because we really haven't used this specifically for the last 2 years. But we want to use it because it's much easier if we use this form to do the tracking of a club opening or a club event. Makes things at KI with able to put the information in without having to go through written ones and finding out that, oh, that wasn't spelled that way, et cetera, et cetera. So you know how that all happens. But so we're going to use that form. And all of you know that there's membership metrics that you can see. If it'll come up for me. Yeah. And this is a metric that you can see that all this information on the web page for education and membership, and it keeps track of all your new members in it. Oh, I guess membership. These are some of the reports and some of the things that you can get from it. Here's the dashboard. If you go to this dashboard, it's going to tell you it's going to show you the data that's out there for, depending on where you're at, you can get all your data off of there. So it shows you what clubs are there, how many new members, how many clubs you have, all the specific information that would be there. So that's things you can do. Resources, the club opening, this one here is kind of like the Bible. If you go to this, it will have all its resources. This is all the resources that are there for club openings, understanding the new dues structure, the descriptions, all the things to do with the club opening guide that I talked about. There's also in that club opening guide in here, there's 2-3 videos, very short videos, 7-8 minutes long, that talk about the 3 stages of a club opening event: planning, inviting, and training. That were put together and as part of the whole guidebook, club opening guidebook that was put together. So those are quick things that you can show to you. If you're doing any training for a club opening event, those are great tools to be able to talk about the various aspects. And all of these are things that are available for you to look if you go to the resources of the club opening on the web page. And again, the ACE tools, I talked about those, are so much good information. This happens to be a PowerPoint of that that Rhonda put together that has all information. It's very interactive. It really talks about all the different tools in the ACE tools and achieving club excellence. And it's really a good one, and I like it because it's kind of quick and easy, but it gets to the point across. So I would suggest that to be used if you can do. The other resources that are available is, Just the Facts, which is put out every year, which has all the information about clubs and all the statistics, which is available. Oops, I'm going up. Just a minute. Monthly report, you can go get on a monthly report. Anybody can get the monthly report, which shows what the status of your clubs are in each division, in each of your districts. Then there's a club opening description and what is a club opener. That's all part of the resources. There's so much resources there. If you just go to that Facebook or that web page, under membership, education, and membership. Probably the most important thing to do is planning. You need to plan now if you're going to start to look at opening a club or strengthening a club. The successful clubs open depend on planning and execution of the task list. Kiwanis will assist you in the process and give you the additional volunteers you need to succeed if you follow the basic guidelines and have strong commitment from your local volunteers to open a club or to boost an existing club. You want to let us know if we can help you in any part of your role, and I know Kiwanians were all committed to it. I'm excited about the fact that of this new year and what we can accomplish, because now that we can actually get out and help and be in the district. So the membership recruitment area coordinators, there's an area coordinator, and this says USA 1, 2, 3, 4. It was just changed to North America. So instead of USA, it's North America 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the people that are in each area. And Gordon is from New Jersey, Dewey's from Georgia, Jan Kansas, and Kathleen is a PNW. And then I also have people in Latin America who are area coordinators, Asia, Europe, and Africa. And I do concentrate mostly on the North America, but I do invite all the other 4, and I've had conversations with the other 4, and they submit to me a report on a very, not real regular, but probably every few months, they'll send me a report of what's going on and what's happening in their particular area. So we want to keep them all together. So we're Kiwanis International. We're not just separated. So that's some basic information. I'm excited about the fact that we're able to get out now, and we have some structure of opening new clubs. I expect that we will open clubs. I just got the final tally from Peter today, which lists all the districts and what their goals for opening new clubs are. It's all finalized now. There was a couple things that had to be worked out, but now it's final. That can be available. So you should check with your DMC district membership coordinators to find out what your number is and what you're going to be working for. There's also, each of them needs to put together a plan. We're going back to any of you that were involved with the formula back in the day. We had a plan that we put together every year by quarter that talked about the clubs that we were going to open, where they were going to be, the status, some various information about it. We're using that again. It's been modified a little bit, but that's been available to your district membership coordinators. And the first quarter of it, I think, is supposed to have been done and into Chris, I think, or into I don't know who's collecting it, into the national by the, well, today it was supposed to be on, so that for the first quarter. So we're working on those things. So that's kind of a basics of it. I as I said, I'm excited about the fact that we can now get out, and if you want to open a club or strengthen a club, get your plans in place, and we'll support you in whatever way we can, whether that's through the specialists or whether that's through volunteers being assigned to go to your district. We will do that. And again, all that information should flow through your area coordinator, requesting the information, and then and I can't encourage you enough to be able to apply for grants. The money's been put there, and it's there to be used. So please use it, because it is an opportunity to help you financially with your district to open clubs and strengthen clubs. So that's kind of where I'm at. Now I'm going to, I think at this point, Sue, I think we'll let Dennis do his part on the coaching, and then we'll open it up for questions, and we'll talk that way. So
Go right ahead.
Dennis, it's all yours.
Larry, you'll want to pull down your, there you go.
Helps if I unmute myself. That's a modern technology. Sorry about that. Okay, now here we go. First of all, I want to thank, Peter for asking me to chair the committee on club excellence. And I think importantly too is the fact that although it has a little bit of different twist than what President Art did, I think it's imperative that we've continued a program that we kicked off last year. I want to thank Kathleen for the work that her committee did. And as we saw tonight, the main important thing was it made Larry's job awfully easy because he can just pull up where Kathleen and her committee, which he was a part of, had the opportunity to do. And so it also, I think, is a very strong program. And like any second year program between Larry's and myself, we do have some tweaking to do to make it more effective as we move on. What I want to do is just spend a little bit of time about what does a coach do? And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of their roles and responsibilities. And I'll talk about how do you get to be a club coach and the process there. The main thing, again, that in my opinion, that a club coach does is they provide support. They help develop the goals, and this could be either for a new club or for an existing club. I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences of the two, but all of them provide support. They help develop the goals. They ensure that they're being monitored and that somebody with some expertise in Kiwanis is there to help the new clubs as well as those that may be struggling. And they also are there to suggest improvements. But it's also important that the suggestions end up being the ideas of the clubs that they help coach. It's important for the club coach to be consistent as they have to develop trust. They have to also work with the clubs to determine a leadership pipeline. We all talk about the necessity of doing a succession plan, and we've all seen the pitfalls when that doesn't happen. They're also the club coaches there to kind of be the outside eyes to help evaluate maybe what the needs are. We've all heard that you're not a consultant or an expert unless you're 50 miles from where you are. And sometimes that plays true with Kiwanis as well. We don't always see our problems right in front of us, and it takes somebody else to do that. And that, again, is what a club coach is there for. The effectiveness of the club coach is how that person works with a team. The team involves the coach, the lieutenant governor, and the district membership coordinator. Back when the formula started, I was lieutenant governor, and one of my fears was that the formula would take over my job, and that didn't prove to happen. But in the role we're using now, the coach, it's very important that when a coach is called in, the lieutenant governor, who has already been to these clubs, is there to help and work with the coach dually to help motivate them to get the change if necessary, or just to see some of the things they're doing positively. And of course, the district membership coordinator is kind of the overseer of the program within each district. Club coaching, Larry mentioned it, it can be done virtually or it can be done in person. One of the things that President Peter has put on our table is that if a governor or a district membership coordinator is having a problem finding a coach for a club, maybe it would be more appropriate to get somebody even outside the district. We have created a cadre of, I call them subgroup, of about 18 people that will work with the area coordinators and the area directors for this purpose. But we're also going to expand their role to do more of a helper for the area coordinator as well. What is the coach? The club coach is the club's main supporter. They've been through it. They've probably experienced the highs and lows of a club or membership and things that are missed and mistakes they've made. And that's what also makes a strong coach, somebody that can learn from the mistakes and move forward and help those clubs see the better way of doing things sometimes in a very positive way. So let's talk a little bit about club coaching training. And we do have several trainers on the call tonight, which is very positive. But let's talk about what the training primarily consists of. The training is actually 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And part 1 is for new clubs and part 2 is for existing clubs. And they take about an hour and a half to do both of them. They are set up where if it's not convenient to do both in one night, they can be separated. And we're in the process, the coaches on the call don't know this, but I'm in the process of doing a combined training that includes information from both of them, if that also can work out better as we move forward. Again, we're learning in our second year. But let's spend this a little bit of time talking about new clubs. Kiwanis International has put together a club coach guide for new clubs as well as existing clubs. And one of the things that my committee did last year, or subcommittee did last year, was to work with Kiwanis International to better align the club strengthening portal with appropriate information that anybody, club officer, a coach, a district officer can go to find new ideas, to find how to make some changes. One of the things that a lot of clubs forget about is the IRS 990s, the tax returns, or their corporate responsibilities within their own states. The club coaching guide is one tool. It's a 10-page document. It's easy to read and it's easy to find. It is in the club strengthening when you do member resources like Larry did, and then you just click on club strengthening and you'll find this document. Training areas for new clubs that we deal with is what's the role of a coach? We talk about how to measure club success, steps after the organizational meeting. You know, the organizational meeting, it's sometimes a stressful event. It's a lot going on. Everything's piled in. And the next day, those new members are saying, what did I just hear? So again, there are necessary steps after that organizational meeting to make sure that the club can proceed and go forward in a positive way. Likewise, there's steps to follow after that night of celebration, when the charter night, when you have the dignitaries and you have people there that are really supportive of the club. And those are also taught. And finally, just being there for support. What are some of the things that a club coach needs to do, needs to be aware of, and how they can help the club as they move forward. You know, this is what Larry talked about before. You know, most new clubs falter between years 4 and 5. It's just like new members. You know, we all struggle with, why does a person after a year leave? And a lot of times it's because they did not have a mentor, their sponsor didn't fulfill their responsibilities of working with the new member. The same is true with clubs. It's very important that we give the new clubs the attention for the first 4 or 5 years, and especially help them get along. Are they gonna falter? Yes. But can we build them up? Yes. And it happens all the time. Talk about existing clubs. You know, it's a little bit of difference in some of the things that they need to look for as a coach in this realm. And here's what they do. Again, I told you it's another club coaching guide. This is for existing clubs. Again, very valuable tool. Few differences here. Again, we talk about the role, we talk about support and guidance. One of the biggest things is for a coach to go into a club is to help them understand what their needs are. One of the most successful coachings that I did was for a club that was struggling with their satellite group. They were literally 2 different groups of people. And I brought the satellite tool to the meeting. We talked about it, and they're striving. In fact, they've got 2 satellite groups, and they're both working very well. You also need to diagnose the problem. And Larry talked about it, and the training has a long discussion about how to use the ACE tools. How do you create the solution? And then we also go into making sure the coach understands what club operations are about. How do you run a meeting? Where do you get help for that? Just little things like that that sometimes we just take for granted. But again, they need refresher, they need to understand. In today's world, the biggest problems I think we're facing is, we talked about it already, when do clubs meet? Where do they meet? Restaurants are folding. People don't want to go to buffets. People just don't want to get together. So we can't overlook discussions on what do we look like tomorrow as a club. And if a club is working in a vacuum without any help or anybody to guide them, they are destined to fail. So again, a coach can put out ideas, things that they're hearing, things that they're seeing. And also by working with the lieutenant governor, they can bring the ideas that the two of them put their heads together to the club and talk collectively. Again, how do you determine the need? It's time to listen. Most of us, as we've gone through our work careers, a lot of us have gone through training on, personality styles, the type of adult learners. And I'm, according to some people I'm around, I'm guilty of not listening all the time, but I've also learned that if you don't listen to what is being said, how are you going to help with the problem? And sometimes you also need to listen to the things that aren't being said with the body language, or attending a meeting and looking around and seeing how members are reacting to maybe things that the president or other members are saying, and maybe that could be the problem. So again, it's extremely important that you take the time to listen. And I also just mentioned, you take time to attend the meetings, and you take time to let them know that you are engaged and interested in helping them. Here's the ACE tools again. Again, the possibilities of how do you diagnose the problem. And I think, Larry mentioned Rhonda Vreel. She's got that PowerPoint. But if anybody ever wants a program for your club virtually, especially now, Rhonda would be an excellent person to talk about the ACE tools. Now, some of the people that have used them, they use them incorrectly, and they will throw all 10 different sections of it at a club at one time. And it's not intended. It's made up in sections so you can look at it and pull out the ones that you need to use for that particular problem, or try to help diagnose what the possibilities might be. And this is kind of what it looks like on the sheet. If you go to the website that Larry put up there, and you just go down and click on it, it's an excellent tool. Nobody's gone wrong by using it. And it's very helpful in moving clubs forward. And that's why we have it in our PowerPoint for training coaches, as well as Larry has it in his for opening up new clubs. It's something that should never go away. Okay, that's kind of an hour and a half session on what the coaching training is. How do you become a certified trainer? Most of y'all have been around a while. If you look, when I look at the screen and know about the formula, know about, you go into education, you push a button that says, I want to be a coach. You took the training and it's a done deal. What we learned in our subgroup last year was that, or I guess this year as of today, it'd be last year tomorrow, is that a lot of people on the volunteer tracker that Larry showed you don't want to do it anymore, or never were contacted, or the names, they don't even exist anymore. So again, I had the advantage of knowing what was happening. So as governor also, I had my district membership coordinator manually go into the volunteer tracker, and there's a place where you can add names and subtract names. And I have 48 certified coaches, and I have 48 coaches listed on my volunteer tracker. That is the primary mission of the area coordinators currently, is to work with the district governors and the district membership coordinators to learn how to input and learn how to clean up that list. Like Larry mentioned, it's very, very, very important that the list is accurate for certified coaches, as well as once Larry and his team put together a way of measuring and identifying club openers, that list is correct. If we utilize the club opening tool correctly, it asks for you to select the coaches and select the openers. If they are not in voluntary tracker, you can't do it. So that's why it's important. So again, that's why I've challenged my 4 area coordinators to work with others to get that done. Unfortunately, used to be that if you took that class online, it would automatically migrate over into the volunteer tracker. However, over the last year or so, because of the work they're trying to do to come up with a new software package, that is not possible. That's why it's going to take personal efforts to get it done. Jumping on Michigan as an example, you guys have done a fantastic job of training people to be certified coaches. Now, it is by invitation only. It has to be conducted by a certified trainer. I compiled a list of trainers today and sent it to the team. All the team members have them. It's basically I think there's about 15 or 16 people on there that are carried over from who started in the program, as well as 2 or 3 new people that are part of my new team this year. They have to have the approval of the district governor and the district membership coordinator before they can be recommended for training. Because with any list and any volunteer program, these people have to work with the governor and the DMC, because those are the ones that assign them to be coaches. So again, if you want to do the training, you can go through, the district governor and the DMC. The last bullet was left over from when I gave this presentation to those 2 groups. The area director or the club excellent coordinator are the ones that help schedule the training. So again, I'm sorry. Whoa, back. There you go. So that's how the training's done, and how you get to be a trainer. There's also, I think, on the club strengthening, there is a application or a request form that if you want to be a certified trainer, and that comes to me as well as the district governor and the district membership coordinator. So again, it can't be circumvented without having the district involved. There's also a form asking for a coach. If somebody just doesn't understand that the governor and the DMC and the lieutenant governor are there to help them find coaches, they can actually apply, do this form, the club can, and send it to, again, it goes to Gloria technically, and then she routes it to me and to the district membership coordinator. So there is a process of getting coaches and requesting them if they need it. Ideally, do it internally within your district. This is the area coordinators for my group. Jim Janisic was on the team this current year, helping put it together. Kim is new, but has great experience in training and opening clubs and coaching. Jim Dane, and Jim's from Ohio, plus several other districts I found out through his internet connections. Kim is from Louisiana. I can't ever say it. Anyway, LMT. Jim Dames from Nebraska, Iowa, and Patty, who was the chair last year for the subcommittees, is from Calneva, and I am in the Capital District. Couple of things that I'll also throw out is that the club training, the certified training program, the reason we're keeping it, the PowerPoint is not to be distributed, is to be used only by a certified trainer. And the reason is because we want to make sure that the first step of educating people on the coaching program is done uniformly. Everybody hears the same message. However, the districts are then encouraged to create step 2 and provide ongoing training and education to the district committees, to the clubs, and also to the coaches. And so again, that's where we are with that. And I will end with that. And here's my contact information. And I'm available for any questions either now or later. If you want to email me, as of midnight, I'll have more time on my hands. So I've enjoyed tonight, and at least I think I will. Don't ask what all I've got to be doing next year. But no, it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy with these programs, and glad to see it's continuing. So thank everybody on this call that's been involved in this. There's been several of you. And thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Well, Larry and Dennis, thank you so much for sharing with us. I think this is a great way for us to finish up the 2021 year and kick off the 21-22 year to give everyone an opportunity to see where Kiwanis International and where the leadership team is looking at membership, because we know that's critical to the success of our organization. So I am going to open it up for questions.
I'd add one thing that I'm working on, and just to give you a kind of a heads up, I'd like to see us have a club opening certification or training for club openers. We've got all the materials to do that with what's been developed over the last 2 years, but I'd like to see something that's kind of modeled after what Dennis has done over the last couple of years for club openers. So that's something that is high on my list to try to see what we can accomplish this year, and maybe making that happen. So it's
wonderful. So questions, I know. So DMC is the district membership chair, correct?
Correct. Coordinator.
Coordinator. Okay.
Yep.
Coordinator. I know we still talk in alphabet soup, so I wanted to make
Yes,
sure
I
that
know.
everyone knew
Yeah.
what all those code words were. But
Yeah.
all the information, this recording will go up in the Michigan District of Kiwanis YouTube page, and I will share it on Facebook. So you'll have all of Dennis and Larry's contact information. So any other questions or comments along the way? You got time now. I know we're a couple minutes over 9, but I don't know of anybody that's anxiously to get off. So
Let me just say one thing. Right now, I think we're sitting at just close to 700 certified coaches, North America wide. So it's been a really good. We got a couple of lagging districts, but they are picking up with the new year coming in. I'm very pleased with that. But again, it's been a great program, I think.
Don, I see that you've unmuted.
Well, I was going to say, Dennis, I've been trained 3 times by a Navy spouse. Do I need to get trained by an Army spouse to be certified?
Dennis, cut him
Probably
off.
maybe a Marine Corps spouse might get it through your head.
Amen.
I just want to tell you both that was an excellent presentation, and I am humbled and honored and really look forward to working with both of you.
Same here, Kathleen.
Thank you. I can't believe Barb's that quiet.
I have a question, actually.
Larry.
Actually, it's for dinner, but I want to echo what Kathleen said. You both did a really good job communicating a lot of information. Dennis, there's a club coaching form on the website under club strengthening that I have 2 questions about it. How often should it be filled in? And actually, I have 3 questions. And should it be used for both new and existing club coaches?
Okay, the form is universal for both. It was created like your academia, you ought to understand this part. It's to give the committee a idea of whether or not the program worked or not. That was the ideal behind it. And of course, it wasn't used like most feedback forms are, but it can be used as anytime there's a development, good, bad, or indifferent. And anytime there's an idea that maybe a coach might have that he or she wants to universally be known, so we can deal with it and answer it. That's what it's set up for. Now, it hasn't been widely advertised, and I know you've talked about it a couple of times. And I think that's another one that it came after the training actually came out, but it is one of the slides in the training, and we just need to emphasize it more.
Right. And my final question is, I think it's a good form. I think maybe we want to add one or two things, but not much. But could the district membership coordinators get a copy of those? Because I think that'll be helpful information for them too.
When it's filled out, it goes to Gloria, to me, and to the district membership coordinator.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I obviously haven't had it filled. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
To me, the district membership coordinator is the gatekeeper. The governor, they're the overseer, but the DMC, the district membership coordinator, is the gatekeeper for all membership issues. And that's where we got to massage, and we haven't done a good job of that, but that's who we have to massage to make sure that the information gets distributed. And so once we do that, I think we got a wealth of information that between Larry's group and my group that people are just begging to have, but we got to get it there, and that's what we got to work on.
Right. Thank you.
And I will say that I think that's one question is there is a lot of material out there, but I know when I visit clubs and talk to them, they're like, you talk about the ACE tools and they're like, what's that? There's so much information out there that it just seems like it's almost overwhelming for someone to start with. So you do need to use those pieces the right way and not to say, oh, here's all 10 of them, go for it.
Right.
Right. But there
just one other thing on that guide for existing clubs, this isn't something you like to talk about. The back page, the last thing they talk about is how do you dissolve a club? And there's a way of doing that. And there's a way of preserving those members. But it's important that those little things get followed or people tell them about them, because it can be save people. Maybe we lose a club, but we can save people.
Yeah.
So you got the tools, now go and whatever.
Go and do it, right? Go do it. Go do it. Danico had a question. Is there a club in Haiti? Does anyone know off the top of your head? Brad, I don't.
Yes.
There. Okay.
Hope Mark said there was one this morning on the Northwest Indy call. She was the guest speaker.
Okay. So she's looking for how we can support them. So maybe we'll connect the two of you guys. Or she can call Kiwanis International and they can connect her with the right group to help us along the way.
That would probably be Emily Sharp aren't they part of Canada or ECNC, Eastern Canada and Caribbean? I think so.
I believe they are, yes.
Yes, I think so.
But there's one group down there that Florida is nurturing, and I don't know which one it is.
That's Puerto Rico, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say Puerto Rico.
I thought that might be Florida too. It was not what I thought it was. I was surprised to hear who sponsored it this morning.
All right. Questions? Any other questions for the group?
I was just going to make
Go ahead, Brad.
real quick. I was just going to make a comment that I think that I'd like to work with both our volunteer leaders and my colleagues to maybe set up what we would like in a perfect world in terms of a club when we find out that they might be wanting to fold or thinking about or whatever. What are some of the different options that we can do in terms of either spinning them off as a satellite group of a nearby club, or can we merge two clubs, or, there are several different ways that we can do it. Or should we even consider down the way putting in the bylaws, although people probably wouldn't adhere to it, you must give us 6 months notice so we can come in and try to save the day or whatever. But I think that there needs to be more thought as to how we do it. Right now, I just hear so many at year end just saying, okay, we're just giving up and we're throwing in the towel and everything. And we haven't even had a chance to deploy a coach with Dennis's group. We haven't had a chance to talk about satellite groups, talking about, what we can do in terms of merging clubs, all those types of options out there.
Well, the first thing you have to do is they have to tell us before September 30th.
Yeah. When that gets back to Lieutenant Governor staying close to the knitting.
Right, right.
One thing that's not broadcast, I had to pry it out of somebody in Brad's office, is that if a club ceased to exist today, not September 30th, but today, and though there's people in that club want to start a new club,
Right.
they are not considered current Kiwanians, and they can be included in the 15.
Yeah. Once it's dissolved, they can be, yes,
Right,
that's right.
right. So that's something that's not discussed or not known, but
Right.
again, if you got, like Brad's saying, if you got some salvaging, then hey, make it work.
If the club is dissolved, but the technicality is
She froze.
if
So.
they join a new club and be part of that new club, they got to wait 6 months.
You
Oh,
froze.
that's right.
one of the
There
critical
is a
piece of
6
that.
months. There's a 6 month waiting period. in there
Waiting period.
Because, yeah. But you can look at opening a new club with these people maybe the club's dissolved, but maybe there's 3 or 4 in there that still want to be part of Kiwanis. So you have to try to,
Yeah.
that's why you need to know ahead of time so you can do some things. And Brad's right. We should be able to try to find ways to help those, particularly the members that want to continue with Kiwanis.
And I know I can speak for a lot of us on this call that this is the worst week of the year for us.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, yes.
Well, they've already locked up the list. I just went to look.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, they did earlier today. Yeah.
that was early
It's
this
still
morning.
early
actually.
my time, Dennis. I still got a few hours.
Yeah.
Well, it was open at 8:30. I mean, no, at 7 o'clock, it was still open, I think. I did not get plus, but anyway, that's life. I'm
Yeah.
still happy.
Me and the Colonel up there.
Cute.
Well, once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, Dennis and Larry, and your teams. I should say your teams. Good luck this coming year, and know that we are all here to support you. And if there's anything we can do to move things along or make a phone call, please feel free to do that, or write a note. Whatever we can do to do that, we'll do that. Kiwanis Let's Talk actually has about 6 more sessions left. President Peter will actually be with us October 28th. October 21st, Kiwanis Youth Protection. As you know, Youth Protection Week is the week of October 10th. Melissa will be on to actually do the training for us on the 21st. President-elect Burt West at that time will be on the week on the 14th, and I'm finalizing a speaker for the 7th that hasn't been finalized yet. November 4th, the club in Michigan who raised about $100,000 doing the Jack of Spades contest in a local restaurant are going to come on and talk about that project and how they raised about $100,000 during a pandemic. And then November 11th, we do have the Veterans Committee. There are a number of veterans that we're working with a few of the people at Kiwanis International on engaging veterans, and they are themselves, our members are going to come on November 11th and do a program on veterans in Kiwanis and how we might be able to partner or work in those areas. And then our last session will be November 18th, and I'm keeping that one a surprise right now. And then we will be done for the year. So I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I will get the video up of this recording up as soon as I can get it downloaded. And with that, I will say thank you again to everyone for being with us. I will stop the recording, and that way if people want to hang out and chat, they can. But thanks everybody for being with us, and keep doing a great job, and congratulations on another successful Kiwanis year.
Thank
And
you,
we'll-
everybody.
we'll
Thank you,
see-
Sue.